Bwahahaha. My name is Amy too, and welcome back to Talk to Transformer. And I've already got a sentence here that hopefully will work. And I'll see you in 0.5 seconds or whatever. What is this? Amy 2 accidentally broke the doorknob for her house and couldn't get in. So she decides to clean it up. However, she was by herself and missed the address, so she only got a useless bowl of soup. What? Then she goes to ask the maintenance guy for the address, but she didn't get an answer. So she decides to go to the police, who told her to go to the court. So she could get an order to gain access. Meanwhile, Albert was clearing his schedule and planning on going to Mars with Victor's help. But Wanda was furious because Albert wasn't present to watch her get sent to Mars. Then she lost contact with some of her Mars crew members when they were sent on a mission to find Victor. Determined to get Albert... What is this? Amy 2 accidentally broke the doorknob for her house and couldn't get in. Instead, a stray dog ran up to her door, dug a hole in the wall, and disappeared under the door. Luckily, her parents got a good night's sleep with the dog sleeping in her room. They later found the dog's footprint, obviously scratched into the wall. And the owner reported that she is a neighbor of her parents who bought her several years ago from another family. That's probably not the case though, since on one of the photos from the phone, a Chinese couple can be seen with the open gate. Well, that and an officer had to drag two open gates along the wall. What is this? Perplexing as to why they were still open. ... What is this? What is this? Amy 2 accidentally broke the doorknob for a house and couldn't get in. The insurance company would not cover the cost of putting the door in place. Then Michelle learned about an Etsy shop where you can get doorknob designs customized, used for one small task at a time, to be used on your door for a nominal fee. With the help of a bit of elbow grease and a handful of supplies from my parents' attic, and in parentheses, or under the bed, as they say in South Africa. What? She cobbled together a doorknob that no longer freaked out the neighbors. I bought her a bandit-style doorknob, which helped her while she figured out how to access the inside of her house. We love DIY. What? Bandit-style doorknob. Amy 2 accidentally broke the doorknob for her house and couldn't get in. It was only a few minutes until 5 p.m. And I had already gotten 4,000 points. I jumped on a plane and immediately went to use my money card. Bought a round of drinks, then rushed to the ring. I looked at Ava, and she smiled. We stood up and went to the doorknob. Of course, it was broken, and the doorknob wasn't working. I tried multiple times. She tried to make me jump back and forth and stop me. What? But I kept on going. Ava jumped on the same doorknob and it worked. We went and her apartment and I opened the door, letting her in. I gave ... Amy too accidentally broke the doorknob for her house and couldn't get in. Tony's grandmother puts her inside the refrigerator. What? What? Okay. David's mother doesn't want to think about him running away. Her oldest daughter goes to David's house and steals David's clothes and money. What? If she ever says anything like that again, she'll never see me again, she tells Kristen. Michael or Michelle asks the woman who has a problem with him if her birthday is June 24. She says yes. When Michelle is walking to the parking lot, he looks at David's house and says, "Hey, I found your house." To Michelle's mother. Michelle comes to his friend's house and takes David's clothes and money. What is this trash? How does it come up with this garbage? Moon was walking down the road when suddenly... I like doing this because it gives better ones. Moon was walking down the road when suddenly the door of the car opened, and two brothers walked into the car. Their eyes were glued on a black porcelain jug. The jug was about 3 feet tall, and at one end there was a hole, which was made with a metal rod, if one were to look closely. The hole would be observed to have been cut through the bottom and the top of the jug. The hands of the two brothers were tightly folded on top of the jug, which was no longer upright. "Big brother!" a white-haired and rangy man shouted in alarm and rushed over. He squatted down, looked down the hill and saw the brothers, who were just about to get in the car. Moon was walking down the road when suddenly her leg caught a twig and broke. What is her legs made out of? "I thought something must have hit me," she had remarked. She looked around and couldn't see anything. "Is there anyone here?" she asked, stepping closer to the ice. No one was around. "Ah, yes," said a voice coming out of the shadows. And eventually a young girl came out. "Frodo? It's nice to meet you." "Frodo? Are you kidding me?" "It's nice to meet you. I'm Ella." "I'm Frodo," she answered. What is this garbage? She answered, then she noticed Ella. "Hey, Ella," she called. "What? Are you Frodo?" "You look so much like him." "Of course," Ella replied. "The thing." ... What? Moon was walking down the road when suddenly a huge black giant, who was nearly as tall as an adult, stepped out of nowhere and attacked him. Zhu Jian stood up and shot out with his sword. Shot out with his sword? The giant figure grabbed a sword and attacked at him. And when he got close, he received a blow on his back that sent him flying over. He landed in a large rock, and at the same time, a huge patch of grass exploded out of his back. What? What? A huge patch of grass exploded from his back. He then landed on the ground and took off his clothes. He quickly looked at his injuries. They were all good and hadn't gotten infected. What? Why would you just call them good just because they weren't infected? He asked while he was rubbing his wounds. Who are you? The giant was saying to Jian. I like the part where a huge patch of grass exploded out from his back. Like, what? And how the huge black giant, who was nearly as tall as an adult. So clearly few people in that world are as tall as an adult. Much less an adult Japari lollipop. What? Moon was walking down the road when suddenly a pillar of light illuminated the entire road. Excuse me. Moonlight fell on the dust and got splattered and got covered up. How does that happen to light? It's like, moonlight fell on the dust and got splattered and got covered up. Moonlight then entered a cave. Soon a handsome youth with a demonic killing intent welling up from his body entered the cave with a grin on his face. He stared at Sun. It was he. Little brat, you have awakened? I hope you don't tell anyone. I have a different matter to discuss with you. He looked at Sun with a sinister look in his eyes. Sun actually knew that he had awakened, but had forgotten about this after he was pushed out of the guild. But Sun was really curious now. He ... Slutter was melting some ice with a flamethrower. Slutter was melting some ice with a flamethrower when I got there. I poured on a bunch of Gatorade. But he said there was no way I could have done it with the medication. Some of it had burned my shirt. What is this Gatorade made out of? And my goggles were all leaking. I was worried he was going to drag me through the snow onto the ice. If that ever happened, I'd have a heart attack. I wanted to be more like him. So I ran around in a circle until I could finally catch him with his hands behind his back. What is this? Then he let me ride him. What? What? Advertisement. Continue reading below. We rode for a while. What is this? We rode for a while. We could both see the world from the other end of the seat. What? And ... This part here just, it makes me think that, oh, it's some kind of like weird, Slutter was melting some ice with a flamethrower. Blah! Cried Martinelli. I like blah. What is this? Blah. That's like the start of my intro. Blah ha 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 ha. Just without all the ha ha ha's. Cried Martinelli, pretending to hit his head. You want to show off? He said, and pushed the weird-looking flamethrower on the ground. Watch me, he said. It exploded in a ball of fire and, spreading around, melted the metal bar and trampoline. The blast hurled the people on the small tower to the ground. You want to do something, he said. Watch, as the bomb exploded. The ice melted and began to plow across the ground, chasing and slapping at Martinelli and Snooky. He scrambled up onto the top of the ice block and held his hands out. The air blasted out. And what is this? What is this? Slitter was melting some ice with a flamethrower and tried to dig in on the west side of the bridge and jump over. Sam's blue beetle threw him a couple of rams at the ice so he wouldn't get stuck. What? They watched as the glacier crawler scuttled over to the side of the bridge, growing in size until it was much larger than the bridge, and were able to catch up with it. Taking it out with a direct hit, as they took the crawler out, some ice destroyers appeared and grabbed a handful of bridge guards to serve as roadblocks. Sam blew a hole in one and then engaged it to hand-to-hand combat, keeping it from finishing off Sam. They soon found everyone else. ... This one is amazing. What? Slitter was melting some ice with a flamethrower while sitting in his car. I don't think you want to be using a flamethrower while in a car. On the frozen lake. Especially on a lake that is frozen. Unaware that his own flamethrower would be the final nail in the coffin of his snowmobile. As though the first two so poor Slitter broke the gas valve with his own arm, spewing petrol into the snowmobile's exhaust before failing to stop in time to stop his comrades. Ah, yes, my comrades! Comrades! Oh, Soviet power! From being burned alive. Having already doused himself in petrol, Slitter's burning corpse was picked up by the Slitter players before collapsing and died from smoke inhalation. Slitter had only been playing within his own level in this death. Releases. Slitter was added to the store on July 24th. What? Slitter was melting some ice with a flamethrower, and an ally gunned it down. While Nora took out the couple of husks attacking her with his sniper rifle. She readied herself for the... I thought it was a he. At this... Oh, attacking her with his sniper rifle. What? She readied herself for the attack when she got a text from Pyra. Okay, try to find cover. Catch up with me as fast as you can. Pyra already had her own rifle, and she and Nora readied themselves to move out. Keep moving, Nora! Nora sped past while Nora let herself drift through the cold. Just in time to spot someone there with what looked like a massive fire extinguisher. This is the one true Cody. Cody's lab? In his complete immaturity and arrogance, he had managed to destroy a stall door and hide himself. Slitter was melting some ice with a flamethrower. Slitter was hovering over the fishmonger's tanks. What? The fishmonger's tanks? When the Snaggletooth took off in a swoop, Snaggletooth turned towards Slitter and prepared to fire, but Slitter placed a hit on his belly. The Snaggletooth landed back on his feet and landed on his butt. Slitter punched his eyes out. What? The Snaggletooth shot straight up into the air and headed for a small building. The Snaggletooth jumped off the building and ran around Slitter. Slitter attempted to grab the Snaggletooth but was unable to. The Snaggletooth landed on the roof of ... Big Boy and Buddy were playing games on their spaceship. Their whatever that is. What? Big Boy and Buddy were playing games on their spaceship, creating remote-controlled flying mini golf dummies out of their toys. Buddy's dummies flew off all over the place, approaching the little Mako. Wouldn't want you to get hurt, Buddy. Buddy flew forward and smacked one of the miniature golf dummies with his golf club, causing it to shatter into 2 pieces. The dummies fell to the ground, causing Mako to look at them with suspicion. That's a dummy, you know. Buddy then grabbed one of the broken pieces of the dummy and tossed it into the air. The dummy was suddenly hit by a boy in a ... What is this trash? Big Boy and Buddy were playing games on their spaceship when they felt like there was something going on inside the computer systems. They ran around and saw something that scared them. A beautiful white woman with pale blue hair and green eyes. How does that scare them? Walked into the cockpit. She grabbed the railing and whispered to her fellow, "See that tree over there? You're in freaking space! How are there trees?" She pointed and Buddy saw a body on it. What? It looked kind of like his other memory, but this one made him worry more. It was something about the eyes that were strange. He remembered the princess and the god trying to kill him, and blood falling from his body. "It doesn't matter," said the woman. "We have the power. Conduct tests ... This is prime trash. Big Boy and Buddy were playing games on their spaceship on Vulcan. At a certain point, they blew out one of the windows and lit up the whole ship. They stopped for a moment. "What's it look like?" Buddy asked. "It's like..." Calhoun began. "Yellin' Bubba Bubba leaves the garden." "You mean the thing they grow? It looks like it's growing." Calhoun nodded. "It's growing." Buddy laughed. "How is it growing?" "I don't know. It's gonna turn into a sugar cane plantation soon. You will never see it again." Calhoun ... Big Boy and Buddy were playing games on their spaceship when they came across a starship with a particular type of ship that they couldn't open. What? They eventually got that ship opened, but Buddy had become badly addicted to his princess. What? While scouring for the ship, they are all very confused and decided that they were going to be done with their galaxy again. After their extensive journey, they landed on a planet where there was a solution to their problem. Their planet had a simple problem. Princesses. The princess that Buddy was searching for was on the planet. During this adventure, they came across a ship that they realized was made by a version of Buddy's that had taken over his body. They ultimately found the ship and ... What is this? And why it make Buddy like buddies, as in like possessive case? That doesn't make any sense since his actual name. Big Boy and Buddy were playing games on their spaceship, the Trop, when she overheard them talking about her situation. While playing, she lost her voice and could only say monotone or phoneless. That's when she turned it into a costume and started her quest to make her voice heard. Eventually, she got famous about how much attention she got for her singing, and has received many celebrity guest stars over the years, including Bill Clinton and Monty Python's Terry Jones. Oh, what is this? Blenderbud uses an armadillo-type prosthetic to act and talk like a potato. Also, it helps create his distinctive facial expression. James Bilbo Baggins is known to perform his famous carol. I've ... What is this? Blenderbud uses an armadillo-type prosthetic to act and talk like a potato. What? What does a potato talk like? It doesn't make any sense. But anyway, I'm gonna have to end this video here. If you liked it, please subscribe and go look at my other videos, because there are a lot of them. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.